I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. Pardon me if I have a little bit of a cold this week. It's the bad weather. It's doing that to a lot of people. And so you might have to turn up the volume on your TV a little bit. But I have a wonderful title for tonight's program, and it applies to all of us. And the title of the show is A Commitment to a Dream. And the reason why is that in 2 days, on the 26th, on Friday, we are having a wonderful new moon at 10 degrees of Pisces. And Pisces rules dreams, and it rules hopes and wishes, and it also is the traditional ruler of the 12th house of limitations and of our doubts and fears. And it also rules escape, and it rules things that come out of the ground, such as the whole oil and gas industry. It also rules ways of escaping, say through drug addiction, alcoholism, or sexual promiscuity. And so you have to be a little bit careful about those things as well. This is a time, because there are six planets in the water signs, and they're healing water signs, that you can make a commitment to a dream right now. What kind of dream would it be? It would be something that you'd had in your heart for a long time. So it could be a goal that you have, or it could be a person that you really care about that you want to be with, or it can be something that you've just sort of been wishing on a star, and even if it seems impossible, well, maybe you've just been doing it forever and ever and ever, and what's wrong with that? And so it's also, Pisces rules charity, and so a lot of times Pisces, who have a sort of an understanding heart, it means that this is a time when we can all work on reaching an understanding, particularly about people who have problems. In other words, people who are affected by social problems, or family problems, or job problems, anything like that. Or it could be animals that you're concerned with. But if we're able to show charity for others, that means that that's proof that in our heart we have love. And love is what heals you. And so that's good. And so this 12th house of limitations, we generally try to get away from our doubts and our fears by covering them up, or else by putting on a bold face or pretending to be something we're not. And, we don't really need to do that right now. And the reason why is that there's so many good planets in Pisces. The sun and the moon are in Pisces today at 10 degrees. And then there are 4 other planets, and they're not close to the sun and the moon. The sun and the moon are at 10 degrees, so they're in the first decan of Pisces, and it's sub-ruled by Neptune, the overall ruler. That's great. But there are 4 other planets there that are pretty important. One of them is Saturn at 21 degrees. Then there is Mercury at 26 degrees. Then there's the lucky north node of the moon at 27 degrees. And then there's Neptune, the ruler of the sign, at the 29th degree of fate. And all of these planets are direct. In fact, the reason why you can make a commitment to a dream right now, and you really should give that a try, is because for once, after many, many months of having retrograde planets, there are none right now. 0. And that is because the 5 planets in Pisces are all being beautifully trined by a 6th planet in a water sign, and that is Mars in Cancer, and it is at 17 degrees, and it is direct. So there aren't any more retrograde planets at all. And that simply means this is the time to move forward. And actually what it means is there's not going to be anything stopping you. And so that's why you should sort of go for your dream or make a commitment to your dream or take the first step toward making a dream come true or trying to be with someone you really care about. However, if you're going to make that dream come true, you're going to have to do it according to the way Scorpio works. Now, why would that be when the new moon is so well aspected right now? Well, that's fine. That's really strong. It's going to stay that way. But when you look a little bit closer at the planets, and particularly the 6 planets that are trining each other, you see that 4 of them, 2/3 of them, are all sub-ruled by the rulers of Scorpio, Mars and Pluto. And Scorpio is a fixed financial sign. That's why if you're going to make a dream come true, the first #1 question you need to ask yourself is, can I afford it? Or how can I afford it? And that is because Saturn and Mercury and Neptune and the north node of the moon are all in the last decan of Pisces, which is sub-ruled by Mars and Pluto that rule Scorpio. And they're being trined, along with the sun and the moon in Pisces, by Mars in the middle of Cancer at 17 degrees. And the middle decan of Cancer is sub-ruled by Mars and Pluto, which rules Scorpio. That's why Scorpio, there's 2 fixed financial signs, Taurus and Scorpio. Taurus rules the second house of how you make your money and what you spend it on. But Scorpio rules the 8th house of money coming in from any other source. So it rules credit, debt, taxes, loans, insurance, inheritance, and grants. And so if you were looking to afford a dream of yours, you might look in those directions because you might find something that would do you some good. So I want to encourage you in that, because I don't think your dream's coming true unless you can afford it. And that's why it would depend on what your debt situation is, or the loans that you have outstanding, or what your credit rating is, or some sort of business arrangements of yours. And so you have to pay attention to those as well. But don't you think your dream is worth it? I'm sure you do, and you'd be right. And this is the right time to do it with no retrograde planets at all. So I wish you the best of luck, because the water signs rule our feelings. And that simply means that you probably know in your heart of hearts who you really love. You know, I'm not saying that you're judging whether they're good or whether they're bad, or whether they're young or whether they're old. I'm not suggesting that you're judging them by any characteristic except what's in your heart. And that'll see you through anything. So let your love do the talking. Just make sure you can afford whatever you're doing. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Once again, sorry about this cold. It'll pass, but I hope you can hear me. What does it mean to an Aries? Well, Aries, you still have Venus in your sign, and it's the only planet in a fire sign right now. So there's no support from Sagittarius or from Leo. But you have a ton of support right behind your sign, Aries, because you've got the sun and the new moon on Friday, and you've also got Saturn and Mercury and Neptune and the lucky north node of the moon, all of them direct. And they're all, in one way or another, headed, except for the north node of the moon, it's going the other way, are headed for your sign, Aries. And that's why, you know, if your life is nice and calm right now, I wouldn't bet that it's going to stay that way, Aries, because you have a solar eclipse coming up in your sign the end of March, and it's the sun and new moon, and you're definitely, you may not make a new beginning right then, It will depend, once again, on what I'm talking about today. If you're committed to making a dream come true, you're going to have to pay attention to whether you can afford it or not. And so that is what you could be working on right now, Aries. And I would say that there's a possibility that you can't afford everything that you want to do right now. But if you, between now and the end of March, when the solar eclipse is in your sign, if you could just say, how I want to do this project, or I want to be with this person, or I want to take this trip, or whatever, how could I break that down into affordable sections? Because maybe you don't have enough money for everything you want to do, but you would have enough money to do some of it. And that's why you need to be a little bit better organized in lining things up. Aries sort of like to speed ahead and be first and get to over the finish line first. But that could be exceedingly expensive. I wouldn't do that, Aries. You need to take it slow. And just one reason, Aries, that you need to take it more slowly is because it doesn't have anything to do with what's in your heart. What's in your heart is there. It has to do with what you might call the staying power of whatever your dream is. And why I'm talking about that is that if you had a project or somebody that you really care about or something like that, and it's sort of a forever thing. In other words, you want to be with that person for the rest of your life, or you want to work on something for the rest of your life, then you don't have to have all the money in the world right now. You can't do everything all at once. Nobody can. And so it's good to break things up into more affordable segments, particularly because I think, Aries, this is not generally an Aries trait, but you need to plan for the long haul, not the short one. Even though the solar eclipse is going to be in your sign. Now, the reason that I tell you that and suggest that, that is sort of a good idea. Slow down a little bit now. Make sure you get the beginning right, Aries, is because Jupiter on June 10th is going to go into Cancer for a year. It'll be squaring your sun. You're going to overspend a little bit during that time. That's okay. But the year after that, it'll go into Leo, and it will trine your sun. And that's 2 years from now. And do you see, if you 2 years is a pretty good time frame to sort of just take one step at a time and do what you can and get things done. You don't have to do the whole thing, but you could take these steps in the right directions, and they might be preliminary steps that you have to do. So I suggest you do that. Sorry I'm taking too long, but plan ahead is what I'm saying. I think you'll be glad you did. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when, yes, you have Uranus in your sign. It is the only planet in an Earth sign, so it's sort of by itself. And it is going through, I would say, that if Uranus was a person instead of a planet, I would say that Uranus is a little bit confused about what direction to take. Is it right or is it left? Is it up or is it down? Who knows? And the reason why I say that is because it was retrograde for a long time in your sign. Well, now it's direct. And then it's going to go retrograde again. And when it goes direct, it will go into Gemini this summer on July 7th. It won't stay there. It's going to go retrograde again and back and end up in your sign at the end of the year, only 4 degrees ahead of where it was in December of 2024. And so, in a way, Taurus, you may think that, oh, gee, you feel like blasting off and you feel like making all these great plans come true. Maybe you can afford it too, I don't know. But I would say that that's not going to happen. And it may have nothing to do with you, Taurus. Uranus is a volatile, it rules sudden surprising change, and it rules investments. And so this year, Taurus, you are subject to what you might call market conditions, because the market's ruled by your sign anyway. And I would say that if you decided, even though you may think that, gee, this is a good thing, I need to buy a lot of it, I wouldn't do that. This is not a year when anybody can guarantee that their money's all going to stay in the same place. I think not. And it's because it's a little bit volatile this year. But a bigger reason for that is there's no support in the earth signs. Pluto was in Capricorn. That's the trouble. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are still having a little trouble understanding that there's no backup to their signs anymore, as there was for almost 20 years. There was always a backup, always somebody else to go to, always a bigger organization. And that isn't there anymore because Pluto was in Capricorn the whole time. And it's gone. And so this is a time, Taurus, when you need to just, if you wanted to roll the dice and take a chance on anything, that's fine. But don't roll all the dice, Taurus. Lock something up somewhere and don't touch it. Because you don't know how the year's going to end. It is probably going to end somewhat close to the way it was at the end of 2024, but not really the same. And I'll tell you why. It is because Pluto went into Aquarius, and it's permanently going to be squaring your sun for years and years and years. And people in upper management are not going to agree with your ideas as easily as they used to. So they won't. And that's why, you can work with part of your capital, but I wouldn't bet the farm on anything. I wouldn't bet the whole farm on anything. Not this year, Taurus. Actually, not for about the next 17 years, the whole time that Pluto is squaring your sun. Because Pluto represents people in high places, in large corporations, government agencies, and institutions, even people who are heads of government. And you don't want to offend those people, Taurus. So go slow. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is a time, Gemini, that I think that you're going to be pretty excited. Your sign rules 2 of everything, Gemini. So you may be thinking, well, does this mean that I can be committed to 2 of my dreams instead of just 1? Well, possibly. But your sign also rules temporary or part-time things. That might be a little closer to the truth, where you could take you could make a commitment to a dream or a goal that you have that you've been thinking about, or it's a project and just want to get going on it. You could decide, well, okay, I'll do that, and I'll just do it one step at a time. In other words, there doesn't have to be a final deadline right now or anything like that. You just sort of want to get your feet wet in it. And that would be an excellent idea, Gemini. Good for you. Go ahead and try anything out right now. Your Jupiter's still in your sign. Your chances of being successful are pretty high because Pluto in Aquarius is trining that Jupiter in your sign. But on the other hand, if there is another kind of a dream that you have that is long-term, or that's out there, or it's something where you're saying to yourself, well, where do I want to be in the end of my days, or in my golden years, something like that. That's a long-term dream, and there is a possibility you should start thinking about that no matter what your age is. It might take saving a lot of money. Well, okay, if you get started now, fine. Or it might be a trip, a special trip that you always wanted to take. A cruise around the world. Wouldn't that be great? Well, it's going to take a lot of money too. Everything costs too much money. And so do you see what I mean? You could try to get your feet wet in short-term projects, and you could put something away, not for a rainy day, but for a special commitment of yours that involves a dream or a goal. And I think this is an excellent time for you to do that. And one reason why is, Gemini, you can afford it. No matter what your finances were in years past, this year you can afford it. So if I were you, I'd spend some now and put the rest of it away to spend later. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, a Cancer, this is a time when you can be rather determined right now and sort of calm about deciding to make a commitment to a dream. And it doesn't mean that you've changed your mind on something. I don't think you have. In other words, I think you have the same dream you always had. Or it doesn't mean that you are wanting to just bowl everybody over and have everything your own way, which might have been true when Mars was retrograde in your sign, meaning that you wanted to catch up. You wanted to do things that would catch you up from matters that had not been attended to in the past. Well, you maybe did do that, so maybe you don't have that to worry about either. But Cancer, you are in the enviable position of having 5 other planets trining your Sun and Mars, which is direct in your sign. And that is because the Sun and New Moon in Pisces on Friday are trining your Sun, and then so are Saturn and Mercury and Neptune and the lucky North Node of the Moon, all of which are direct. And so somewhere in the background of your life, Cancer, where not a lot of people, in other words, this involves somebody or a dream or a commitment of yours that you've thought over very carefully, no questions asked, you're sold. And even if you haven't told anybody about it, this is a time of actually renewing your love for the dream, or maybe it is that a goal or a dream of yours seemed so far in the distance at one time that you sort of thought it would never show up. And I'm telling you, Cancer, it's on your doorstep. And the reason why is that it has not only shown up, it's there to stay. I mean, 5 things in Pisces, all trining your Sun, and Mars finally direct. I think you had some problems that you had to clear up. Or mentally, I think you were stressed out, not quite knowing which direction to go in, and matters have occurred, and things have worked themselves out, and now you do know what direction that you're going in. And you can be very definite about it. Cancers are sort of quiet, and they're sensitive, and they're not exactly meek and mild. I mean, you get a Cancer. Cancer rules the home and the family, and it's very true. You hurt a hair on a Cancer kid's head, and they're going to make you pay for it. That's out. Nobody touches their family members. And so it's not that you're not tough, Cancer. It's that you're sort of nice and you go along with people, and you don't need to make waves. Your sign rules endings, finishings, and I think something is completely over now that needed cleaning up in one way or another. It might have been more than one thing, but over. And instead, you're looking at this, something in your heart that you know is absolutely 100% true. Not just today, not just tonight, not next month, but for the rest of your life. And how can you tell that? How do you know that? Because what would you do if anything ever happened to that dream? You'd be completely lost. You know, someone or something that you really love, you love with your whole heart. Your soul, that's it. And you've had time to take a look at it. Cancers are not the fastest movers in the world. They look things over. And the bottom line is, your heart says yes. And it should. It's time. So anyway, that's all coming parked on your doorstep somehow. I don't mean that the world's all coming to you, Cancer. Oh, no. The world's never going to find you at home, Cancer. You got to get out among them. And that much you've got to do. But isn't it worth it for happiness for the rest of your life? If the only thing you have to offer someone is all your love, that's the only thing they want. They don't want anything else. They just want your love. Because they truly love you too. So this is a time of commitment, Cancer. Don't blow it. You're going to be real sorry if you do. Everything else can wait. You just go after that dream. And that dream's probably waiting for you to do something because they want to be with you too. So good luck. All right, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time, Leo, that I think that you can benefit from some new beginning that's around right now, and that's because Venus is in Aries and it is trine your sun. It's the only planet in a fire sign right now, so your sign doesn't have any backup except that Venus, but that's nice. So you might have your mind on something new that you want to do, Leo, and it could be a trip that you want to take, or some traveling that you want to do, or some fun that you want to have. That could, you know, maybe you're planning a trip during summer vacation with the children or the grandchildren, because then they wouldn't be in school anymore. So that would work out really well. But Leo, there are two very strong planets that seem to be stuck in a harmful situation that can be quite challenging to you. This is not going to change. It'll briefly change just a teeny. One of them will change a little bit this summer, but not for long. It goes back to the way it was. And it is that Uranus is in Taurus squaring your sun, and on July 7th it'll go into Gemini, when it will be sextiling your sun, but not for long. Heads on back into Taurus. That's where it is at Christmas time. And so it means that your financial investments are not all bankable. No matter how secure you think you are in your investments, something's going to change. It should have already changed by now, because Uranus has been squaring your sun for 6 years. And then Pluto is in Aquarius, and it is opposing your sun, and it's going to be doing that for about 15 to 17 years. And that simply means that people in high places who are in management in large corporations, government agencies, or institutions are not going to consider you as teammates, so to speak. And so if you wanted to be with them in one way or another, you would have to take orders from them to do it. Now, that isn't something that is on a Leo's mind very much. Leos like to be the leaders. They don't like to take orders. They like to give them. No. With Pluto opposing your sun sign, you're going to have to take orders for years to come. And I cannot see where you're going to like that, Leo. But if you're trying to make a dream come true, or you're trying to get something accomplished, and you realize that you have to work within a difficult framework that you didn't create, but you can't go around it, you do have to work with it, then you'll have to resign yourself to doing that. Either that or give up your dream. I mean, maybe you'll find a better dream. Who knows? Jupiter is coming into your sign in 2 years. So, if you think that you can be in a pretty solid situation 2 years from now, particularly if it involves a goal that you have, you probably can make it. Could you do it in any less time than that? No. It would, whatever you want to do, Leo, it's minimum. It's going to take a minimum of about 2 years to do it. You might be real glad, though, that you sort of tackled that. But it's up to you. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo. Remember, the dream is, the title of the show is called A Commitment to a Dream. And yet, you are either probably wondering what dream, or you may be thinking, well, I had a commitment to a dream, but it didn't work out. So maybe you're thinking that that's all past. Well, I don't know, Virgo, but I do know that there are 5 planets in Pisces, all opposing your sun, and there is a 6th planet, Jupiter in Gemini, which is squaring your sun. And there's only one planet trining your sun, which is Uranus in Taurus. And it's taking a bit of a beating from that Pluto in Aquarius. So I would say, Virgo, you might feel sort of like the Lone Ranger right now, like other people don't understand you. You may be uncomfortable with the way things used to be, but you're not seeing a way to change them and make them better either, for various circumstances that are beyond your control. That's why you can feel a little lost right now, Virgo. Now this too shall pass, okay? There are eclipses in your sign, Virgo. This is a year when you're supposed to make changes. And in March, which is getting close, in March we have the spring eclipses. One of them is in your sign, a total lunar eclipse at 24 degrees of Virgo. And so there can be somebody, perhaps a woman in your life, that is going to make a change. Or else you are. And it might be a change, since it's a total lunar eclipse, where one woman goes and another woman comes, but not at the same time. You know, one goes, then sooner or later another one comes. And that could be fine. But if you're feeling a little bit like you're walking through the wilderness and you don't know which way is out, I don't blame you, Virgo. But you will end the year much better than you started it. And you actually are going to do just fine this year. But it is not the kind of fine that is this steady rise to the top. Isn't that ideal? That's not going to happen, Virgo. But part of the reason is because some of these eclipses indicate that it isn't that you're changing, particularly the spring eclipse, it's that others are changing around you. And they're going to make changes. And I guess you'll more or less have to accept that. But just remember, my aunt always said, when one door closes, another one opens. And generally it's right away. So I would call this, Virgo, a year of discovery for you. And I don't think anything's too wrong with that. Virgos are very sensible. They're not out to make big mistakes. You know, they're not going to take a huge gamble or anything like that. And that's why some of the changes that are going to occur in your life this year, Virgo, maybe they're a little overdue. Maybe they should have happened before. And so I don't think you have too much to worry about. But this particular new moon, with so many planets opposing your sun, means that if you are committing yourself to a dream or a goal, I would say that it's out there. That it's a big reach for you to get there right now, Virgo. There are some probably other things that have to be done first. Don't worry about it. You'll get them done. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Libra. This is a time, Libra, when you can be sort of looking at what you might call the best of both worlds. And the reason why is that Jupiter is in Gemini. Remember, all planets are direct now. There's nothing retrograde for the first time, I think, this year. And so Jupiter is in Gemini, and it is direct and trining your sun. That's very good for you. And then Pluto in Aquarius is also trining your sun. And so these are two. Pluto's a powerful planet of truth, and depicts upper management. And Jupiter is a planet of very good luck and benevolence, and particularly around young people, or involving temporary or part-time things, even just short trips. So you may be a person this year, Libra, that maybe isn't going to go on the one big vacation, but takes a fair number of smaller, shorter trips. That could work out for you, particularly before June 10th. And that's because Jupiter leaves Gemini on June 10th. And so if you just want to get out and try new things and meet some new people and, have a good time, I think this is an excellent time for you to do it. And your sign has support. And that support isn't really going away. Pluto's going to be trining your sun for years and years and years. And then whenever any other sign gets into Aquarius along with Pluto, that's going to be like a double whammy of goodness coming to you. So I think that your life has the potential to improve right now, and continue to improve for many more years to come, Libra. It's just that if you think it's going to be handed to you on a silver platter, no, you're going to have to go out and meet the public. And you're going to go have to rub elbows with people in high positions and talk with them too. They'll like you. Libras are extremely charming and very popular. I don't even think that they know how popular they are, because a Libra, in your sign, is ruled by Venus, and a Libra works at getting along with people. But to the Libra, it isn't work. It's just the way they like to present themselves and how they like to operate. That's why you're so popular. Lucky you. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time, Scorpio, when you too, since yours is a water sign, can be thinking of making a commitment to a dream or a goal of yours. And it looks to me like it's going to happen, Scorpio. There's something, there may be more than one, but there's something that is extremely important to you that you care about. It may not be about yourself so much as about another person or another project of some sort that you care a lot about. And so you could commit yourself more closely to that. And whatever it involves someone or something behind the scenes. In fact, very few people may know what is actually in your secret heart. And that's because your sign rules secrecy. So there's a whole lot of things that a Scorpio knows, and they've never told a soul. And they're never going to. That's just the way they are. And so, if you're a friend of a Scorpio, your secret is safe with them. Don't worry about that. So this is a time when you may decide that there's someone or something in your secret heart that it's like it's their time. It's time for you and that person to get together. And it's like not next year, not the next decade, nothing. In fact, if anything, I would say that the hourglass of time is running the other way. In other words, it could involve someone that's been around a long time, or maybe you've been around a long time, and neither one of you said a word. But it doesn't mean the feelings aren't genuine. They are. And Scorpios Scorpio rules psychology. And so Scorpios are pretty good at figuring out where people are coming from. And also other things. They can figure out if a person is scared about something, or if a person is sort of like hiding something, or whatever. And they keep it to themselves. They don't say anything to anybody. But Scorpios like to figure things out. The sign of the good detective, there's two signs that make excellent detectives. One is Capricorn, the other is Scorpio. And so you may have been looking somebody over for a very long time, Scorpio. And you could be rather pleased with what you found out. You know, they say that love comes in little ways. I think it also comes in little pieces of information, of little things that you learn as you go along. Nobody knows for sure what the most important value is in their heart, because we've all got a lot of values. And it seems like whoever is very dear to you, Scorpio, you can check out off the boxes. They've got them. Whatever it is that you admire, or that you can see, or you have in common with them, you can check that off. It's all there. And so this is the time when you need to make a commitment to a dream. Because it's really true that a dream isn't real until you make it come true. That means it's your job to do that. And you just got to go forward and do it. But I don't think you have any trepidation about it. I don't think you're worried about it. You've sort of done your homework over a very long period of time. And you like what you see. And how rare is that in life? Very rare. So I hope you do make a commitment about a dream behind the scenes that you've had in your heart for a long time, Scorpio. This is the perfect time to do it. And it might involve a move. Cancer rules moving, and your ruler Mars is there. But it's a direct now. It's a good time to move, actually. So I hope you get on it. Okay, what does it mean to Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, there's only one planet in a fire sign, and that is Venus, which is in Aries. And so that means that you can have your mind on taking a new trip, or starting a new job, or doing something that involves higher education in one way or another. You may decide to teach a short course, or to write something and publish it that other people would benefit from knowing about. So educating others. You could do that, Sagittarius. And it's funny, but as we go on in life, we're so busy doing our jobs, or raising a family, or, handling our business affairs. Time passes by, and we don't realize how much knowledge we've accomplished. When you're 20, you want to get out there and learn everything, because it's a big, beautiful world. But when you're older, you have learned some things. But what have you done with the knowledge? It would be very good, Sagittarius, since your sign rules teaching, particularly at the college level, that you put together some course. It might be a self-help course. Maybe it's a course over YouTube. It just answers questions. That could be quite helpful to other people. Wouldn't cost you anything, because you've already lived with that experience. You've got first-hand knowledge of it. So in a way, that would be a nice use of your time, and a way of saying thank you to the rest of the world for teaching you so many good things. Giving back is important. And if you give back knowledge that you have gained from others, then it will also help the next generation. Those ones with the stars in their eyes because they're all 20, maybe it will help them. And so I hope you think about that. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, your sign only has one planet trining it, and it's Uranus in Taurus. And it's direct, but it is unstable, and it's being challenged by Pluto in Aquarius. And for that reason, Capricorn, I think that you're going to have to be real careful with what you say and do right now. Now, the reason why is because, believe it or not, Capricorn, you could be much closer to achieving an important objective than you realize. And why is that? Because your ruler is Saturn. And Saturn is in the middle of this new moon on Friday. You know, it's in Pisces. It's at 21 degrees. And it's conjuncting Mercury there at 25 degrees. And that's conjuncting Neptune at 29 degrees. And the north node of the moon at 27. Do you see what I mean? There could be a lot going on behind the scenes. Because your ruler Saturn is sort of in the right company right now, or in the right spot. And it's getting so much protection around it, with the sun and the new moon there, and Mars trining it. Mars is another malefic planet, but it's trining Saturn, and Saturn's a malefic planet. It's called the taskmaster because it makes you work hard. But it can be that some of your hard work is going to start to pay off, Capricorn. So if you have a dream that you've always thought, oh, well, that dream's out there in front of me. I'm working on it little by little, but it's still down the road. Look again, Capricorn. It could be a whole lot closer than you think. And also, it could be much more popular than you think. Capricorns are not the most optimistic people. They're very realistic. And that's fine. Somebody's got to be. And so you may not appreciate how many people appreciate you. But you will. Something that you've always wanted, and it might just really surprise you, is about to come true. And it is because of making a commitment to a dream. So if you haven't done that yet, hurry up. That new moon is on Friday, Capricorn. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time, Aquarius, when you can benefit from the fact that Pluto is in your sign, and it is trined by Jupiter in Gemini, which is always good, because Jupiter is a great planet of benevolence and goodness. And then right ahead of your sign are 5 planets, all in Pisces. And they're all great planets, they're all going forward, they have momentum, they're conjuncting each other, which doubles the strength of anything else they're conjuncting. And so Aquarius, this is what you might call a good jumping off spot for you. Or it's a good jumping off time for you. Okay, it doesn't mean that today you're doing one thing and then tomorrow you're wildly successful at it. What it does mean is that you jump off and jump in to whatever that dream is, and your whole world opens up. Just opens up. You'll probably meet new people. People that you didn't think that you'd be able to meet. Maybe people that you didn't even know were around that care about the same thing you care about. I just really feel, Aquarius, that something that you've already thought about and that you've already done some preliminary work on, but you've still been feeling like the Lone Ranger, like, okay, you're doing it, but nobody else is. That phase 1 is over, Aquarius, and you've spoken to enough people now where they're on the bandwagon right along with you now. You know, got a lot more people that are interested in the same thing you're interested in. So this is a time of exploration for you, and I would sure use it while you can. Those planets, nothing is retrograde right now for the first time this whole year. So go to it. Make a private dream of yours come true. You know, If you've been taking baby steps for a while, lengthen your stride a little, Aquarius. Take a bigger step, a bigger leap. Don't worry, you've got a lot more support now than you used to have. You're going to do fine. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, when this is one of the best new moons that you will ever have for as long as you live. Take advantage of it, Pisces. And the reason why is that, how could you possibly improve on it? It's just got everything. The sun and the new moon are only at 10 degrees on Friday. They're going to be there for longer. And going through that sign, Saturn is direct. It's conjuncting Mercury, planet of communication. And then Mercury is conjuncting Neptune, your own ruler, which means that some dream that you've had for a very long time is so much closer than you realize, Pisces, that it's either looking at you or it's already decided something that includes you. I don't know if you know that yet, Pisces, but somebody has already thought of including you in something that is right up your alley that you would absolutely love. And they've decided, okay, they've thought it over. Saturn is conjuncting Mercury. Saturn is a slow planet. Mercury is a thinking planet. But they thought it over and decided, well, yeah, it's that Pisces. That's who we need. So I think that somebody wants to talk to you, Pisces. Excuse me. This could be about a new job, or it could be about a new place to live. Mars in Cancer is trining your sun. Excuse me. Just 1 second. And it simply means that since Mars is trining your sun and Saturn is in your sun sign, you have the help of 2 malefic planets. Even Uranus is sextiling your sun. It's not challenging you. The only planet that's challenging your sign is Jupiter in Gemini. I would laugh that one off, Pisces, because Jupiter's a real good planet, even if it is squaring your sun. It might mean you have too many irons in the fire, but you can handle them. So this is probably one of the best new moons you will ever have in your life. And if you don't believe me, just wait till next year. There won't be anything like it next year. Because these planets are moving on. Remember, I told you they're in the last except for their sun and moon, they're in the last decan of their sign. So they're leaving. And so take advantage of being the right person in the right place at the right time. Congratulations. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Sorry about this cold, and I'll see you right back here next week for Starborn. Bye.